Because Elizabeth Warren wanted ridiculous. You're watching her dance, and you're like, how dare you say I can't make fun of this? How dare you?
How dare you?
Fine.
Obviously, by the way, it's not like somebody put up a cell phone video of her dancing at a wedding.
Right,
no one's going to that's okay. She's on stage trying to get something from people, and she thinks this will...
Liz Warren blasted the Supreme Court for declaring affirmative action unconstitutional. She's been carrying a grudge against white people ever since she was exposed as one. Let's hope she doesn't go on the warpath. Don't take those blankets.
Nothing says funny politics like Elizabeth Warren trying to change herself. Every time there's an election, one moment she says she speaks for regular people. The next she's acting like the boss of a super woke company. Then Joe Rogan and Greg Gutfeld show up, ready to tear down her act like experts. They didn't just make jokes. They pulled off the mask and showed all the ways she says one thing but does another. This roast isn't soft. It's like a super big storm, full of jokes and tough truths.
Trump was always calling her Pocahontas, and Trump said that if she...
Elizabeth Warren? Who? Pocahontas? Oh, I'm sorry about that. Pocahontas?
She got into Harvard because she claimed she was Native American.
She said she was Native American, but she wasn't able to document it. She said, well, I have high cheekbones. I think she's as Native American.
Senator Elizabeth Warren just released a campaign ad disguised as a DNA test. Or maybe it was a DNA test disguised as a campaign ad. In it, she ladles her DNA results with somber relatives and music. It even includes me. I'm touched. That happens every time I take...
Elizabeth Warren's political career is kind of like one of those diet drinks that promise to make you feel great fast, but instead, you just end up with a stomachache and regret. She walked into Washington acting like she was going to save the day for progressives, carrying tons of charts, graphs, and more detailed plans than an IKEA instruction manual, but instead of building success, her ideas led to political confusion. Joe Rogan and Greg Gutfeld didn't even need to warm up. They just glanced at her past, rolled their eyes at her fancy Harvard background, and then let the fun begin.
Like, I don't know if you saw this, but Elizabeth Warren got confronted. She got confronted about the amount of money that she's received from pharmaceutical drug companies. She said she's never received any money from pharmaceutical drug companies and never received any monies from any PACs.
I don't take contributions from big pharma executives. I don't take any corporate PAC funds. And you and your allies already know that.
And then, of course, underneath it, Community Notes strikes again. And of course, she received millions. She's a liar.
It's pretty hard to take someone seriously when their big presidential campaign started with her saying she might be a little bit Native American if you squint really hard at her family tree. Through a broken microscope, it was like political dress up that went too far. Rogan didn't even need to roast her. Warren did it herself when she took a DNA test. That went so badly, it seemed like a prank from a joke website. Meanwhile, Gutfeld jumped in with jokes, laughing at her best. Way to get voters was dressing up like Pocahontas at a meeting about taxes.
So her Native American ancestry may date back 10 generations. She's potentially 1/1000th and 24th Indian, which is 0.09%. Using such standards, I'm Asian, which is why I can't get into Harvard. So no wonder she had to rely on sentiment and victimhood. But this really isn't about history, but her story, and fixing it because it's a mess. Did she or did she not list herself as a minority in law school directories when it suited her, then removed it when it didn't? It's not about her background, it's about cheating. She's a white woman of vast European ancestry who went to the buffet of identity politics and took seconds, then thirds.
Then there's her big mission to go after billionaires. Elizabeth Warren acted like she was on a stage in a dramatic play, yelling at rich people like she was trying out for a role in Robin Hood's Revenge, Tax the Tech. Bros, but she forgot that she's surrounded by rich millionaires in her own political party. Her speeches about rich people sounded more like a college professor complaining to a yacht club for having too many snacks. Rogan pointed out that even though she says she fights for everyday people, her campaign was full of rich folks and hedge fund leftovers. Gutfeld joked that her tax plan had about the same accuracy as a toddler with a crayon and a dartboard.
they did that thing about Elizabeth Warren. Oh, I did find out what percentage she is. Elizabeth Warren, who claimed to be Native American, and she did a test. She's like 1/100th of what I am. Like, it's literally like her saying she's a Native American is literally like me saying I'm African American. But I have more of a claim. I have far more, like more than, I think some insane number, like factor of more African in me than she has Native American. And I'm not even remotely Native American, or remotely African, right?
Yeah.
I'm 1.6%. I have 1.6% African in me. And she has like some really stupid number.
She claimed to be the voice of the middle class, but her policies sounded like they came straight off a fancy grocery store receipt. She went on and on about making huge changes, while regular people just wanted to keep their jobs and afford lunch. Joe Rogan made that super clear, saying Warren talks about big economic changes the way a vegan talks about their food loud, often, and totally out of touch. Gutfeld called her ideas financial fan fiction and said the only revolution happening was people quickly changing the channel when she started talking.
You know Liz Warren. She's the former Native American princess who gave up truth-telling, cash in on telling more lies. In her latest fundraising email, she brings up how she was visibly pregnant when, quote, the president told her the job would go to someone else. It's another story in which she portrays herself as the oppressed, faking victimhood to gain an edge over others, including real victims. However, her pregnant victim story fell apart when school board records obtained by the Free Beacon shows the school offered her a new contract. She quit anyway, backing up the tale she told back in 2007 when she said she left by choice.
Let's not forget that one time she tried to be relatable by going live on camera and awkwardly sipping a beer like it was some kind of deep, special moment. It was basically the political version of your grandma trying to figure out TikTok. She looked like she was trying really hard to be normal but ended up starring in a meme. Rogan made fun of the whole thing, saying it looked as real as a fake ad for socks. Then Gutfeld hit with a perfect jab, saying Elizabeth Warren doesn't drink beer, she drinks policy papers through a kale straw. Her public speaking, also hilarious. Rogan said it's like watching someone yell at a spreadsheet. Gutfeld said she sounds like a strict teacher scolding a class that just wants snacks.
Yeah.
Oh no! That would. Oh no! She keeps doing this.
Yeah. She looks like her back is welded, like it's all one piece.
No,
like everything is moving like this.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah. She's a robot. She's barely real.
It's about being white. You know,
that's weird because I thought she was Native American.
Well, that's what I said. You know, but so obviously Bernie's lying about saying women can't win, or Elizabeth Warren is lying about him saying that. And I'm not going to accuse a Native American of lying. I'm just not going to go.
Good for you. She is 1/1000th Native American. So that's real. That's a real number. Might be.
Then came the part where she tried way too hard to be the most progressive person. On the debate stage, she was all about Medicare for all until she wasn't, then kind of was again. Rogan joked that her health care plan was like one of those pick your ending books, where no matter what you choose, you get more taxes and more confusion. Gutfeld made it even funnier, saying it was like a grocery receipt that just keeps growing, and you're still wondering who bought the $47 cantaloupe. Warren's constant flip-flopping made her look less like a strong leader and more like a gymnast, trying to do flips on a tightrope over a pit of confused voters. Her little fight with Bernie Sanders was a mess too. One moment they were political BFFs. The next she was calling him sexist on live TV. And then there's her need to control everything, break up big tech, take money from the rich, and micromanage businesses like a mom organizing a garage sale. Rogan said her plans sounded like they came from a fantasy land.
There is a silver lining. I think she did the nation a service. We are now all Native American. This is an interesting fact from Michael Aris. What's his name?
Aaron.
From a GOP spokesman. And he used the New York Times sourcing. The average European American is 0.18. So the average European American is actually more Native American than she is.
Wow.
This backfire?
I think a little bit. It is interesting that a lot of the media were treating this as her response to Trump. But remember, she's going to have to get through a Democratic primary. And I imagine that if it maybe got down to the top 10.
Yes.
That her opponents were going to use this. Donald Trump wasn't going to have to do.
Gutfeld added that her idea of capitalism was like a little kid trying to run a money company, with finger paints and feelings. Her economic plan didn't feel like a fix, it felt like she was trying to replace a car engine with a dream catcher and happy thoughts. Even her campaign slogan sounded like something made by a fridge magnet trying to sound deep. Rogan joked that she could have saved time by having Chact write her speeches. Gutfeld said her charm was somewhere between watching paint dry and going to a boring meeting about diversity on a Saturday. She kept acting like people wanted a smart professor as president. But regular voters didn't want lectures. They wanted leadership, and when she tried to act like she was from the heartland, that was a stretch. Her real home is Cambridge, Massachusetts. Her idea of fighting big corporations was yelling about them while shopping at their stores. Rogan made fun of how ridiculous that looked.
Did you know Elizabeth Warren released that thing that says that she's got actual Native American blood, but it's literally like 1/100,000 trillion?
Wow.
She has like the smallest amount.
Did you see what Ben Shapiro tweeted about that?
What'd he say?
Trying to find it.
Your great-great-great-great-great-grandfather.
Yeah, but. And then it was something else, but I forget what it was.
We'll see if we could find it.
Yeah.
But I think I'm 1.6% African. I did one of those DNA tests.
Are you really?
Yeah.
And later. Standards.
I think I'm at least 10 times more African
Than her?
she
Than
is
she is
Native
in her.
American.
Gutfeld took the joke even further, wondering how someone can hate capitalism while getting paid by the government and selling books on Amazon. She said she'd bring the country together, but most of the time she just split people up into groups like woke enough and not good enough. Rogan joked that she tried to start a revolution with a book club. Gutfeld compared her plans to trying to stop a wildfire using scented candles. Her campaign stops in some states were so forgettable, people didn't even know why she was there. Her fans on Twitter had the energy of a yoga group that just discovered sarcasm. It wasn't real politics, it was more like a show pretending to be about values. Even when she dropped out, it wasn't a big deal. She didn't leave with a bang. Just gave a TED talk about change that no one really wanted to hear.
Just days before the 75th anniversary of D-Day, Liz Warren said climate change is a bigger threat than whatever happened back then.
America's faced huge challenges before. World War II. Put a man on the moon. This environmental catastrophe bearing down on us may be the biggest challenge yet.
We're bigger than World War II. Imagine if she had been president on D-Day. Hey, let's call it off that seahorses might die. She'd put the whole thing on hold until they fixed the emissions in the Sherman.
Rogan said watching her leave the race was like seeing someone get kicked off a reality show, but still acting like they were the main character. Gutfeld wrapped it up by saying Warren's political story felt like a PowerPoint that froze halfway through the national anthem, and yet she still keeps showing up now and then, like a software update no one wants. Her return to politics feels like a canceled TV show trying to come back. Same story, but fewer people watching. Rogan said nobody asked for the sequel. Gutfeld joked that Warren 2.0 might run faster, but it still has all the problems. Now she's hanging on to attention like glitter stuck to a Halloween costume. Gutfeld said it's like a Broadway play with no music, just drama with no plot.
On with these numbers, because Jamie and I were trying to work it out, and we were both stupid as fuck.
Why did she release that as like C instead of going like, oh, I guess I'm not?
Because she was lying.
And she was also lied to. Probably her family was like, well, we have Native in us. I'm like, oh,
Yes, that does happen.
Yeah.
People do like Jamie. Jamie thought he had a gang of Native American in him. He did a chest.
Supposedly do. Hard to prove is from what I'm trying to find out.
Right.
I can't wait to do one of those tests. I just have it to see if I'm over 90%, 7% Jewish, or like 97% Jewish.
Mine is almost exactly what I thought. It's mostly.
And the roast doesn't stop because Elizabeth Warren keeps making confusing moves. She says she's against big companies, but stays close to big institutions. She says she's fighting for working families, but her actions always end with a boring press conference no one pays attention to. Rogan keeps pointing out how fake everything seems, like she barely knows the people she claims to be helping. Gutfeld just laughs and says it's all just a boring government play, pretending to be activism, and there she is, still walking around Washington, always talking and never listening. She has huge ambition, but her popularity is small, just like her campaign. It made noise, but never made it close to the White House. The spotlight may fade, but Rogan and Gutfeld aren't done. Yet. Not as long as there's another weird plan, another awkward live stream, or another fake moral speech ready to be roasted. Elizabeth Warren acted like she was a brave underdog, but ended up sounding more like a mad professor who lost her notes.
Politicians lie. Those who say they don't are lying. Warren's lies, however, fit a pattern. Victim karaoke, an opportunistic deception to exploit plight others. It's no different than parking in a handicapped space and faking a limp. Jesse, it's fraud. Now Liz claims her Native American ruse was an honest mistake, but it got her PR as the first minority woman in Harvard law, which was so heavily promoted by her and by Harvard. But when she knew that scheme was imploding, she paraded that pathetic DNA test, proclaiming her Native American blood.
Joe Rogan and Greg Gutfeld didn't even have to search for jokes. Her own plans gave them everything. Her climate stunts alone could be a Netflix comedy series. It was super ironic watching Warren yell about capitalism while asking rich people for money at fancy parties. Rogan laughed at how she claimed to care about regular folks while sipping boutique tea from a fancy reusable mug that probably cost more than a week of groceries in Ohio. Gutfeld went wild, slicing through her money. Plans like a chainsaw in a yoga class, cutting through her ideas like gluten-free pancakes, pretending to be steak. If messing up was an Olympic event, Warren would win gold, silver, and a certificate for showing up. She kept trying, waving her arms on talk shows like a balloon full of progressive guilt. Rogan just kept saying that the queen not only had no clothes but also paid way too much for them. The roast might be over, but the comedy Elizabeth Warren brings is far from finished.